Hello everyone, Luke Smith here. Let's do another Resident Evil 5 file reading, another library file. I'm doing them in order of how they come or how they was listed on here. This is the BSAA. So, following the annihilation of Raccoon City, this is a long one by the way, this is why I'm doing one per video. Following the annihilation of Raccoon City, Umbrella was hit hard with multiple lawsuits for their involvement in the incident, but there was an organisation that was hit harder by the fallout of that incident, the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium, an organisation comprised of pharmaceutical companies from around the world. Umbrella's development of and experimentation with bioorganic weapons (BOW), along with the sale of these weapons on the black market, caused people to distrust the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium, and the fact the Umbrella was okay, I think that was in spelling error right there, was an executive board member only deepened their misgivings. If things had ended there, the consortium may have just escaped with a tarnished reputation. But in today's world, medicine is an integral part of almost all medical procedures. The public is also quite informed when it comes to which medications are trusted and which are not. If the population loses trust in the pharmaceutical company responsible for creating certain medications, it can quickly bankrupt said company. That's really similar to things like Pfizer, like the COVID vaccinations. People is really skeptical of that when it came out, and they still are. They're rightly so, because we don't really know what's actually in there. Yes, they hand us a leaflet and say, yes, this is all in this. This is absolutely safe. Do we trust them? Do we trust a leaflet, like a label with ingredients on it? No. We want to know what's really in our medical drugs. The Umbrella trials took a turn for the worst for the consortium when prosecutors presented evidence that incriminated many other pharmaceutical companies. Prosecutors showed that Umbrella acquired medicines and techniques developed by other companies and employed them in their own bioweapons research. They commissioned each of the respective companies to only partially develop certain medications so that they could not be traced to what was ultimately being developed. The responsible companies thus unwittingly contributed to the development of bioweapons. That's interesting on how it all puts this together, by the way. It's really good lore. I've never read any of these library files, by the way. I normally skip them. Until this development in the case, the consortium looked at the lawsuits as Umbrella's problem. Now the problem was thrust into their laps as well. The companies that were linked to Umbrella faced the possibility of sharing the blame for the deaths of hundreds and thousands of innocent people, the Raccoon City incident. And if Umbrella lost the lawsuits, they would face bankruptcy as well, even if Umbrella was found not guilty of any wrongdoings. The negative publicity would not only be disastrous for sales, but the governments of the world would revoke the company's permits and sell their products. Not having permission to distribute their products worldwide would effectively dismantle their business. The pharmaceutical companies realised that they had no choice but to take drastic measures to counter their dismal prospects. Let me just get my audio recordings. Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The consortium decided to strike a deal with the persecutors. They would put all of their efforts into assisting with the case against Umbrella, even to the point of turning over any internal company documentation. The persecutors in the case, being obsessed with seeing Umbrella fall, agreed to accept the help of the consortium's companies, and in return they would not pursue legal action against them. In 2003, Umbrella was found guilty on all charges. With its fall, the scandal that rocked the pharmaceutical industry to its core could finally be put to rest. But Umbrella's dismantlement led to an unforeseen situation. In the fallout of Umbrella's collapse, BOWs began to show up on the black market. The weapons wound up in the hands of terrorists, guerrilla fighters, and unstable state governments. Soon the threat of these BOWs began to be felt all over the world, and that's how like Resident Evil 5 started, like bioweapons on the black market. Faced with a new umbrella-like crisis, the global pharmaceutical consortium knew that they would have to take immediate action. That's the thing, isn't like the global pharmaceutical consortium? That's like the World Health Organization in real life, isn't it? It's like very similar. Even though like the World Health Organization is like most corrupt fucks in the entire world. It was then that the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance (BSAA) was formed to fight the threats from BOW. Upon its initial foundation, only 11 elite individuals were made part of the BSAA. Their job was limited to that of observers to armies and police units around the world that conducted counter-bioterrorism operations. Unfortunately, the world's bioterrorism problem was much bigger than anyone had anticipated, and so a new course of action was required to handle the problem. Yes, because send Chris Redfield in, he'll do it. To that end, consideration was given to creating a team that would react instantly to threats, but the BSAA was still only a civilian-led organization. They could not operate freely in sovereign nations, and thus are unable to conduct investigations, make permanent arrests, or even use force when the situation dictates it. It was clear now that the threat of bioterrorism was now the entire world's problem, and something would have to be done. The BSAA was then reformed under the UN's jurisdiction. As the UN-controlled Special Forces team, the BSAA acceptance by the UN's member states was taken as a given. The truth of the matter was that only 70% of the member states would approve BSAA activities on their soil, and the remainder of the states would only approve BSAA activities in the countries on a conditional basis. That is how the current incarnation of the BSAA was formed. The BSAA headquarters was located in England. Okay, I never thought of that. Like, I thought it was like North America. I didn't know it was going to be in England. Most likely London, wouldn't it? But any further details of the location were not released to the public, since a BSAA team had to be able to be deployed within 12 hours. It was assumed that they were located near an airport hub or at an Air Force base, probably Heathrow or Gatwick or something like that. Some sources claim that the BSAA had bases in the area under their jurisdiction. The following is a list of areas under jurisdiction of their respective BSAA branches: European headquarters, Europe and Western Russia. East, Middle East branch, the Middle East and part of Africa. So that's in Resident Evil 5 area. North American branch, the entire North American continent. Chris Redfield is stationed here. South American branch, the entire South American continent. West American branch, the western part of Africa continent. Sheva Alamar is stationed here. East African branch, the eastern area, the eastern part of Africa, African continent. Far East branch, eastern Russia and the countries east of India. Ocean branch, Australia is the centre of operations for Oceania. Antarctica, where Umbrella's Antarctic base is located, falls under the jurisdiction of the Oceanic branch. Each BSAA branch had a considerable number of people on their tactical teams, most of them coming from as police, special forces and militaries around the world. The support staff for the teams are also quite large. They came mainly from government organisations in different countries. There were many groups of experts on the staff that provided technical, medical, physical and mental support to the teams. The BSAA deployment teams were divided into two groups. The first group was the Special Operations Unit. The Special Operations Unit was stationed to infiltrate an area, engage in combat and subdue offenders. Teams were usually comprised of 12 members. Each team was divided into three 4-man cells. Special feature of SOU is the flexibility of its personnel during operations. In order to match the scale of an operation, cells from other teams were brought in on a regular basis. For the specific joint operation, there were 70 elite members working together. Dan DeCant is currently the leader of Alpha Team for this operation. The team is comprised of its own standard team along with cells from other teams. The designation Alpha Team will only be used for this operation. Isn't like DeCant meant to be Chris Redfield's leader in Resident Evil 5? Reports indicate that because unknown BOWs are involved, the efficiency of the tactical team's method for handling them may be low, and consideration has been given to the strong points that raise their efficiency. Another key part of the BSAA is the Special Forces agent. Usually they are referred to as just agents, and unlike SOUs, agents work alone. The agents are primarily involved in investigations and espionage activities, and as such, they are considered the eyes and ears of the BSAA. During certain operations, it may become difficult for tactical teams to penetrate to the front, so it's up to the agents to carry out the missions. I would say that was probably Leon Kennedy, but Leon Kennedy has nothing to do with the BSAA. He's just a president special agent for the White House. Doing those types of missions, a 2-man cell is the basic deployment unit required to carry out the mission. Sometimes agents must go beyond the jurisdiction of a BSAA branch to carry out their missions. Many of them are dispatched to areas with unlawful activities. The mission sees Agent Chris Redfield in that role. Agents who work alone are highly capable and rank higher than SOUs members. Also, Chris might have been an agent then for that, because he had like another team member like Sheva Alamar, and it was only like them two. It wasn't like a group. There was a group of BSAA agents, but it was mainly Chris Redfield and Shava Alomar going about on their own. However, agents are not chosen so much for their abilities or technical prowess, but for the psychological state and aptitude in handling situations. In actual skills and abilities, they may be outperformed by SOE members. The BSAA is a public organisation with an international staff, but owing to the logistics of running such an organisation, is a well-known fact that most of their funding comes from the Global Pharmaceutical Consortium. While this relationship has been the target of such criticism, the consortium funding removes the financial burden from participating nations, and as such, any motivation to change the situation and incur unwanted expenses. As for the consortium, their sponsorship acts as a much-needed industry-wide PR service. So far, this partnership has been beneficial to all parties involved. On a final note, the 11 members who are also part of the BSAA from the beginning are highly respected within the organisation, and are known as the Original 11. The name comes from the Original 7, who were 7 astronauts selected for Project Mercury. Was that a real thing, Project Mercury? I'll have to have a look at that in a minute. One of these Original 11 is Chris Redfield. A number of other members of the Original 11 also worked alongside many other tactical teams. So that was it for this reading. I'm just gonna like have a look at that project Mercury. 1 second. Project Mercury. Oh my god, it's real. Yeah. It was a program running from 1958 to 1963. Okay. Oh, I thought that was made up. I really thought that was made up for me. That's actually real. Actually real. So yeah, that was it. That was really good to like read. There's like really good lore on how the BSAA started. Unfortunately, that's the thing. Like the BSAA in Resident Evil 8 basically went on their own thing, and they started working like on BOWs as like puppets sort of thing. Basically send BOWs out in the field to get killed and collect combat data. And in Resident Evil 8, Chris was basically there to help Ethan and Rose and Mia, and he wasn't part of the BSAA. I think he left. He was with Hound Wolf Squad, which was a separate thing that he made. So I really hope Requiem closes that cliffhanger with the BSAA and Chris Redfield. I really do. Something needs to be done with it. The ending had a cliffhanger. So yeah, that was it for this library file reading. I hope you've enjoyed it. The next one will be obviously next week. So yeah, until then, see you guys.